This is why I think they're worried about drones now in the U.S. military. This is one that a Connecticut kid configured with a gun. And you can see it's a drone that shoots. And it's not just a kid doing it. There have been other cases where you marry a drone with the technology to get very close to individuals, even those in power, and do far worse. Former Green Beret Ben Collins says, we better be on top of this because we've had a lot of close calls. Ben, that's a little step of another measure here, right? It's one thing for a drone to spy on people and get in people's face. It's quite another to do so with a weapon. This is bad for the military to now be on top of, right?
It is, and I believe that these small drones will represent the single most significant terror threat that we will face as a homeland. And I'd be very surprised to see if we didn't see an attack utilizing one of these drones in the next 12 to 18 months. But
this kid in Connecticut made it look ridiculously easy. But then I think of how many times drones have got to, two at least, that got to the White House. There was one that got very close to Angela Merkel in Germany. And I'm thinking, imagine if they were weaponized or they had even a simple gun or a crude setup like this kid had. That changes everything.
It does, and these are very simple, as you said, to utilize. You know, they cost anywhere from a couple $100s. You can control them on your iPhone. You can launch them from anywhere, and these things are very hard to stop and even see for the most part. And that's the real concern, that these can be utilized in a weapon fashion. And we actually have caught a number of individuals that were planning to use it in that exact way that have occurred over the last year, which is pretty frightening.
Why aren't we better able to crack down on the drones that are there, the ones that get very close to airports, the ones that get not only the White House grounds but the Capitol grounds? This has happened again and again and again. I've always assumed we had procedures in place to either shoot these down, stop them, or is it so dangerous to do so that we compound the problem trying to deal with it?
Well, Neil, look at it in comparison. You saw how difficult it was in a city with as much security mechanisms in place like D.C. when that individual flew his gyrocopter into the yard of Capitol Hill. And that was a fairly decent size, perhaps the size of a small car.
That's right.
We're talking about drones that weigh less than 20 pounds, right there, and it's very difficult for the radar certainly to differentiate between what is a small drone and what could be perhaps a bird. And then how do you take it down? You know, we certainly understand how something like a naval ship could knock out a drone, but when they're talking about something this small that they perhaps identify and they have minutes, seconds even to make a decision on how to take this thing down, that's a very distressing thought, especially when you see certainly crowds that exist. Take something like the New York Times New Year's Eve. It would be fairly easy to throw a drone that you can launch out of a hotel room and attach explosives, radioactive material, chemical material, biological. So this is a threat that they have to start taking extremely seriously.
To put it mildly, Ben Collins, thank you very, very much.
Thank you, Neil.
All right, we're getting a lot here, not only on our interview with Governor Walker, some choice emails for me, as well as that pledge that Governor Walker took, the pledge that he would never run as a third-party candidate. Would Donald